Davis! I'm gonna hit him with a taser. Taser? Go ahead. No. Go ahead. Taser! 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 Come on! Watch it, watch it. Oh, God. Drop the knife! Drop the knife! Taser, taser! Come on! Watch it, watch it! Oh, God! Drop the fucking knife! Drop the knife! Come on, dude. Bro, drop the knife! Drop the knife! Drop the knife! Come on, the knife! Anyone that can't shot anymore, drop the knife! Bro, drop the knife right now! Drop the fucking knife, dude! Drop the knife! Aim for the hat! Roger. Crossfire. I got the taser, just let me know I got injuries. Watch out. The booties. Scoot back, watch out with the booties. I got the taser, just let me know. I got another one. I got him. Prongs are still in him, just let me know. Drop the knife! Back up. You dropped the knife. You dropped it. Crouch in my voice now! Roll away from the knife! Do it now! Wait till the sound of my voice! Crawl towards me! You dropped the knife? I can hit him with the taser, take the knife away and we'll detain him. Okay. Alright, you guys ready? Hey, everybody stand by on crossfire. I'm going to hit him with the taser, we're going to kick the knife away and detain him. Go! Shit, he died. Stand by, he died. I have another one. Here, I got it. I'll make him lethal. I got the knife, I'm going to kick the knife away. Hold on back with the taser. That's it. Good. Get him. Leave it there. Got him. Cheers when you're back. Let's bring the news. Move around. What do you want? That whole square? Yeah, let's do this whole square. Let's get it over here to here. Down here, baby. Galito! Drop the knife! Drop the knife right now! Drop the fucking knife! Do it now! Drop the knife! Drop it! Drop the fucking knife! Hey, watch crossfire! Drop the fucking knife! Bro, drop the knife! Drop the knife, man! We don't want to hurt you! Drop the knife! Drop it! Drop the knife right now! Throw the knife! We don't want to hurt you! Throw the freaking knife! Throw the fucking knife! Throw the 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 knife! Get back! Throw the knife! Throw the knife to your side now! Throw the knife in! Throw the knife! Throw the knife to your side! Drop the knife! Drop the knife right now! Security, get out of the way! Do it now! Get out of the way! Drop the knife! We don't want to hurt you! Drop the knife! Get rid of the knife! Drop the knife! Taser. I'm out. Drop the knife right now! Taser! Come on! Drop the knife! Drop the fucking knife!
Watch yourself.
Drop the knife! Drop the knife!
Come on, Charlie.
Bro, drop the knife! Drop the knife! Take away the knife! And you will not get the gun anymore! Drop the knife! Bro, drop the knife right now! Drop the fucking knife, dude! Drop the knife! Aim for the head. Fire. What's up? I got him. Progress still on him.
My mine are gone.
Drop the knife! Back up. Drop it. Drop to my voice now! Roll away from the knife! Do it now! Who's to the sound of my voice? Draw towards me. Get out the way!
Stay back there.
Stand by on the fire. I'm going to hit him with the taser. We're going to kick the knife away. I got them. Stand by. My head died. Here. I got it. I'll maintain lethal. All right. I got the knife. I'm going to kick the knife away. Okay.
I got cuffs.
Lock him up with the taser. Taser. Get him, go!
I got cuffs. Get through them. You got him? Got him.
This is Detective Melinda. Case number is 2019-02-9496. Today's date is 4/2 of 2019. The time right now is 09:18 hours. Currently at Las Cruces Police Department, CID briefing room. President's myself, as well as
Lieutenant Ryan Beck with the New Mexico State University Police Department.
Officer Jamil Landrum, Las Cruces Police Department.
and your badge number.
909.
Okay. And
Amy Orlando.
okay, Ms. Orlando, you're his legal representation, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we had contacted you. Obviously, an incident occurred on March 23rd, 2019 at 700 South Telshore. An incident involving a subject identified as Joshua LeNoir. Okay, I don't know if you got that information yet as far as the name is. Okay. You're involved in that incident. We wanted to conduct a video and audio statement with you. You've had time to meet with your counsel, and you guys agreed to voluntarily come in and give a statement, correct?
Yes.
Okay. If you can, again, it was March 23rd, up there at 700 South Telshore. If you can, just kind of lead into what you heard from your initial response when you were on patrol.
Okay. I'm patrolling District 2. I'm at Main and Picacho area. I hear a stabbing get dispatched through the radio at the mall, Mesilla Valley Mall. I start heading that way, and it's about, I think, 2200, somewhere around there. As I'm pulling in to the mall parking lot, somebody has contact with the victim, and then somebody has contact with the suspect. So we have a confirmed stabbing victim. That's what I knew, and then I knew who the suspect was. I pull in, I park, and I get out, and the parking lot is full of civilians. I ask where are they, and they said they ran that way, which I believe is going to be south through the parking lot. I make my way south through the parking lot, and I see an officer, I guess with the taser engaged on the individual, who was holding a knife. He was wearing a red shirt, and they were giving verbal commands to him: drop the knife, and I asked if anybody had less lethal up. Nobody said anything, so I ran back to my unit, grabbed my beanbag shotgun so that we could have the less lethal coverage. I went back to where he was and got my shotgun ready. He was still not dropping the knife or complying with verbal commands. There's going to be 2 separate incidents. The first incident, I fired 4 rounds, aiming at his arms and legs, none of which worked. He got up, pulled the prongs from the taser out, and made his way closer to the mall where there were still people. So at this point, I know we have an armed subject who had just stabbed somebody and he's going back towards the mall in a public area. I knew that we had to stop his actions because I was in fear for the public safety, the officer's safety, and myself. At that point, I knew we were at lethal means. I should say that. So he continued closer to the mall, got almost to where the JCPenney was. Fire department shows up, security guards show up, a bunch of people show up behind him, so we're not able to take a lethal shot with the handgun. It would have been dirty. So that was kind of off the table. So I knew that going into the second, I guess, little incident. And I can't tell you how many tasers went off, but I know several tasers went off. And I know people were trying, it was not working. He kept walking. Eventually somebody was able to lock him up with a taser. He fell back on the ground, still holding the knife. It's at this point where I aimed for his hand, and I shot his hand with the beanbag 2 to 3 times. I saw his hand rock back and forth, so I knew I was getting good shots, but the knife was still in his hand. He was still clenching it. At that point, I knew I could not let this man get back up because he was clearly making his way back towards the public area. So I shot at his head. I aimed at his head in order to stop his actions.
Okay.
Once I did that, he dropped the knife, and then officers tased him and kicked the knife away, detained him.
Okay. We'll go back a little bit over some stuff. I had some
Okay.
specific questions I wanted to ask you in regards to that. When you're traveling from Manipicacho up to the mall, you said you heard that there was a stabbing.
Yes.
What additional information were you hearing on the radio?
That the male was running away. They provided a clothing description. I can't remember what the clothing description was. And that they were actively chasing him, or he was actively running away.
Okay. So as you're still traveling up there, you get a confirmation or you hear a
Yes.
confirmation. So as you're traveling is when you
Yes.
hear confirmation. There's a stabbing victim and
Yes.
his description.
Yes,
Okay.
there's an officer that made actual contact with the victim, and he said we have a stabbing victim over here. They got him medical attention, so I knew he had stabbed somebody.
Okay. So the next thing, when you arrive on scene, you pull up, the subject's already down, correct?
Yes.
Okay. With the officers being tased?
With one officer that had tased him, yes.
Okay. And then I think you gave the description that he was wearing a red shirt.
Yes.
And officers you're hearing commands, correct?
Yes.
Okay, do you give any commands?
I gave a few commands to drop the knife.
Okay. And this subject is non-compliant?
No, does not comply.
So you go back, you grab your beanbag shotgun,
Yes.
and then you go back and you start to engage with him.
Yes.
What's going through your mind? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that maybe if I hit him in the arms or something, it'll be enough pain for him to drop the knife and comply and listen to us so we can take him in without any injuries.
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. And as you're doing this and you're deploying the beanbag and then you hear the tasers going off, what's your mind thought right there?
I'm thinking that nothing is working. As I came up the first time, he was already getting back up, pulling prongs out. None of the beanbags had any effect. So I was thinking that we had to stop his actions because he just stabbed somebody and he's still in the mall parking lot full of civilians.
Mm-hmm. And you said your concern was he was making his way back towards
Yes.
the mall? Okay. Describe his, I know you said he was pulling the prongs and stuff out there. His mobility, describe that to me. Like,
He was perfect. He didn't have any difficulty walking or running or anything like that. He was yelling something I couldn't tell. It sounded vulgar or what, like he was cussing or something. But he was perfectly capable of moving, running, doing whatever he needed to do. So.
Okay. What effect do you think the beanbag rounds that you deployed, and I know Officer Arnold also deployed
Yes.
some, right? What was your interpretation of what the effect it was taking on him and his reaction
I
to
think
it?
it did absolutely nothing because he was still holding a knife, and he kept walking towards the mall after I shot him in the legs and arms.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I think you covered pretty good as far as the ending the last 4 shots, correct?
Yes.
That you had. Okay. What type of beanbag shotgun do you have?
It's a Remington 870 12 gauge.
It's 12 gauge?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know the velocity that the round travels at?
I'm not sure the specific number. I know it's between like around 260, 270.
Okay. And how long have you been deploying a beanbag shotgun?
Since I graduated from the academy, it's going to be February 2017. I've had it.
Okay. And what training have you received in that?
It's just a basic qualification for the beanbag.
Okay. Were you introduced to it as far as its abilities and whatnot in the academy?
Yes.
Okay. So basic academy training with it, and
Yes.
then just ongoing, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you've deployed it since February 2017?
Yes.
Current on all your qualifications?
Yes.
Okay. In total, how many rounds did you expend?
I want 8.
8? Okay. And the series of, how does that go?
So it's 4 in the tube, and that's what was in there. And I shot 4. I had to reload, and then the second incident I shot another 4. I reloaded the full 4, and then I had 2 left over that I did not shoot.
Okay. You carry it in a patrol ready is what it's called?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Not hot. Yes.
Okay. Not hot, just 4 in the magazine tube.
Exactly.
That's all that'll go in that magazine tube?
4.
Okay. And then you have a side saddle with the gun,
Yes.
right? How many are in that side saddle?
I can't do the math. Let's see. I think there's 6 on the saddle.
Okay. And in conclusion of the event, how many did you have left over? Do you remember?
2.
2? Okay. What are some of the best cases for the deployment of a beanbag?
The best cases are just when we have maybe an armed subject, and the best cases like where they work.
Yeah, just an instance where it would be good.
Just like this, if we had an armed subject and we had a good standoff on him, we don't want to get any closer to him. So if we were able to take a few shots at his limbs and he say, that's enough pain, I give up, and we were able to detain him from there, I think that would be a good incident.
Okay.
And that's what we tried here in this case.
And in your training, you're broken down into 3 zones. Do you know
Yes.
those 3 zones?
Yes, zone 1 is going to be legs, like quads, calves, hamstrings, and forearms. Zone 2 is like considered the yellow zone. That's going to be lower back, stomach. And zone 3 is red, which is going to be like chest, neck, head.
And is there a progression as far as where they're considered 1, 2, and 3? Like
How should I put this? The probability of injury is higher the higher up you go in the zone.
Okay. And the 2 types of trauma. Do you know the 2 types?
No.
Okay. What do you expect to see as far as a beanbag deployment? As far as injury to your victim, or
Maybe a bruise. That's about it.
Okay.
It shouldn't penetrate, do anything like that.
okay, as you progress up that zone level, what's the degree of that?
Thus, the probability for injury increases. I don't know. I'm not a doctor or anything, but I know that probability of injury increases.
Okay. Who performs the any checks or cleaning on your shotgun?
The cleaning, I maintain the weapon for as far as cleanliness, but the department armor handles all repairs.
Okay, and it is department issued.
Yes.
All the rounds that you have, the ammo is all department issued.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything personal on that shotgun? Or
No,
is it all
sir.
department?
That's the exact way I got it.
Okay. Do you have anything?
Just need to know if you work on
No, I think we're good on those. So,
I don't have any questions.
okay. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, sir.
Okay. Anything from you?
No.
Okay. Once you took your final, you made that decision, take that final headshot. What occurred after that? What did you do?
I just stood by. He went unconscious. I think he dropped the knife, and that was our main goal, was to get the knife away from him. And then officers were able to detain him, get the knife away, and I stood by in case anything else were to happen.
Okay. Could you clearly see that he dropped the knife?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I even yelled it out and said, he dropped the knife. We gotta do something to get it away
Okay.
from him.
And then you stood by, provided cover that, and you still had 2 rounds left, correct?
Yes.
What was your concerns? Basically, I know you said you couldn't allow him to get back in there, but
Yes.
I mean, you had 2 rounds left. What was your concerns?
My concerns were that nothing had worked up to that point. He had already demonstrated violent behavior by stabbing somebody. The mall, there was still several people at the mall. Chuck E. Cheese was full of kids. The parking lot was full of cars. And I knew that we had to get this male detained before he stabbed somebody else.
Okay.
So that was all my thinking, is that we have to stop his actions.
Okay. Okay. You had made a statement early in the beginning. I'm sorry. That you said, I knew who the suspect was. Did they put out a name, or you just
No.
as far as identification?
I knew it was a suspect because that's I think one of the officers had described it. I got him over here, or something like that, and clearly they're tasing somebody with a knife. So I knew that we had the suspect engaged over here. We had a victim who had been stabbed on the other side of the mall. So I knew we had a crime.
Okay. And you knew that there was a suspect.
Yes.
Not necessarily you knew the suspect was.
No.
Who it was.
I
Okay.
never met the male
I just
before
wanted
in
to
my
clarify
life.
that.
No.
Okay. Anything else?
I think earlier you mentioned security and fire. Do you remember where they were located?
They were right on the south side of JCPenney. And you can, I think somebody was yelling, get the security guard out of here, get the security guard out of here. And the fire department rolled up with their lights right behind the guy we're chasing. So it was dirty from the beginning. I knew we couldn't use lethal, because if we missed, there's a potential of somebody getting injured on the backside of that.
Okay. For just clarification for, I would say, the layman person, what
Yeah.
does dirty mean?
Dirty means that we do not have a clean shot. There's a potential for somebody behind our target to get hit if somebody misses. But clearly, if I miss with a beanbag, nobody's going to die. Nobody's going to get severely injured from that distance. So,
Okay. It's talking about distances. What is an effective?
effective is 21 feet.
Okay. What is ineffective?
Ineffective is over 75.
Okay. Were these people outside of that 75 zone?
I would say so, definitely.
All right. Anything else? Okay. I have nothing further unless you guys want to add anything to it.
No.
Okay. What we'll do is, when the statement, the time right now is 9:33.